Good morning, guys. I am back from Austin and this garden is popping. Except for the yarrow, which is fine. I've got plenty. But the gopher issue that I had here migrated to this yarrow right here, which is no longer with us. After doing some digging, I'm fairly convinced that he didn't create a hole in this bed because I dug down and I think he tried to dig into the bed and then reached the chicken wire that I have on the bottom, because I couldn't go down in a hole. But he ended up coming up during the night and just eating the yarrow all the way down. He ate the whole thing. So I just pulled the roots out because frankly I don't need any more yarrow. And I put this tomato in here, which is a chocolate pear tomato. This is the only plant of this variety that I have. The chocolate pear was a free seed given to me, and most of them didn't germinate. This is the one surviving plant. So I'm glad one survived and I've got him in here. Although my trellising situation leaves something to be desired. I don't want to buy any more cattle panels this year, so these are some just wire something I picked up at my grandpa's house that I used last year for peppers. And these are really good for peppers because peppers don't get that tall. They just need a teensy bit of support. But this is absolutely not going to support these tomatoes that are going to grow very, very tall. So for now, I've got to tie this guy up right here. For now, this is what I've got here, but I am looking into other options for trellising. And at this point, I think I'm going to make some trellises out of either 1x1s or 1x2s, something like that. And like the tomato cage style where it's just a circle, I'm just going to make a cage out of wood that will post into the ground and hold them up. We're gonna try it. I don't know if it'll work. I think it will work just fine for these determinate tomatoes that I have. They need some support right about now. They're getting rather large. But they won't get too big, too tall, because they are determinate. They grow to a set size, put out their fruit, and then they're done. So I think the 4 cages I want to build with the wood will be fine for these guys. Just not sure about those guys. And this yarrow over here has started blooming. Wonder if it smells good. No, doesn't smell like too much. But they are beautiful. They're beautiful plants. It's such a shame they're considered a weed elsewhere. But the gopher hasn't gotten a hold of any of my other yarrow plants here, here, and here. That one looks kind of bad. I wonder if he's getting water. I don't feel any wetness in the soil like I do over here. I have been having an absolutely terrible time with this drip system. There are several beds where the drip line comes out of some holes and then not out of others, and I've blown through them. Air can get through them. It will literally be like one hole spurting water, the next one isn't, the next one after that is, and I have no ideas for what could be causing blockage in just several holes when the line is running just fine. I've even cleared out the lines. I don't know what's going on, but I've had to hand water a lot of the plants in this garden because where they're located on the drip line is specifically that spot is not getting water. And I don't want to rearrange all my drip lines in every bed to put the drip line exactly where it needs to be because I don't know what the problem is. I should just get a new drip line. It's on my to-do list. I have a long to-do list. But I have not gotten in here and watered this morning yet, which I need to do because I planted more beans in these 2 beds. I planted more cucumbers in that one on that trellis. And this is just completely dry. I watered these yesterday. I hate starting seeds when it's already getting to the 90s because I have to water several times a day. And a lot of times I forget. And then my seedlings die. Why is it so hard to grow here? Good news is my cucumbers look like they're making a little bit of progress. Not much, but a little bit. The real star of the show this year are my tomatoes, which are doing excellent in all of my beds, which makes me so happy because I had such a huge tomato failure last year. And I think they're gonna make up for it this year. Look at these guys. They're huge. I'm having to tie them up every few days. In fact, I should probably tie them up right now while I'm with you guys. Now to tie up these tomato plants, I just use, it's like gardener's tape. I just bought it at Lowe's or Home Depot or something. It's stretchy, so it shouldn't damage the plant, and it's really easy. You don't need scissors, you just tear it off. And I'm just gonna find these stray branches here and just tie them to the trellis. I like to try and keep, I put a lot of plants on this trellis. There's 7 tomato plants here. So I like to try and keep them in their area if I can. Just tie this guy up. Not too tight, just double knot it. It's super easy. Now, as I've said before, I don't prune my tomato plants too heavily in the summer because a lot of leaves will help with the heat. But when they're getting a little unruly like this, I'll just come along and take off the suckers and just try to keep it in its own area. As you can see, that's not working very well, but over time it will help a little bit. Now I missed this sucker right here, and he's just coming out the side of the bed. I'm not too worried about it. If I start seeing bug damage on these lower leaves, then I'll just trim this whole branch off. But he's got a ton of flowers, and I don't want to waste all of these flowers we've got if I have tomatoes coming up. So until I actually see pest damage that I should be worried about, I'll just let him go. Now in the monsoon season, August and September, I will probably come around and prune a lot of the lower branches off of this just because it's our most humid time. But the rest of the year we get like no rain. So I don't have a whole bunch to worry about besides pests hitting the lower leaves coming up from the straw. And I've got some baby tomatoes. This is the gold medal tomato, which is a yellow slicer variety that is delicious. And I'm very excited. These are some of my first little baby tomatoes. I've also got several other tomatoes coming up. The first plant that actually set off fruits was the giant crimson, and I should check on, see how big that one is. This little guy was the first one. There he is, the giant crimson tomato, and he needs to be tied up as well. Let me go ahead and tie him. I'll just tie him to this makeshift trellis I have that is absolutely not going to hold him for very long. So I need to get on making some trellises out of wood. Unless I'm just gonna bite the bullet and go buy some more cattle panels, which I really don't want to do. There you go, little guy. My garlic is coming along nicely, and I've harvested a few scapes. If you can see here, this is where I pulled off the scapes that are the flowering portion of hardneck garlic. And once the scapes start coming out, you want to harvest them so that the garlic doesn't put all of its effort into making that flower bulb, but instead sends its effort down to the roots to make the garlic bulb that you eat. Not all of these scapes are coming up at the same time. So I've already pulled up one garlic plant, and it was not, the cloves weren't separated, it was not fully developed. So I know it's not time to harvest these yet, but it is getting soon. There's another one. So here's a scape. You see, it's just a baby one. They get taller and they'll come up, and this bulb right here will get rather large. But I can just break this off right now. There's a garlic scape. And these are reminiscent of garlic. You can just, they're a milder garlic taste. Still a little spicy. Ooh. But you can saute these. These are excellent in food. I just chopped them up like it was garlic and put it in a stir fry the other day. But I cannot wait to get these guys out of here. I want to plant something else. I've had this garlic in here for months. It's a very long growing crop. You have to have a lot of patience for it. Now this garlic is a soft neck version, like from here to the end of the bed. And these don't put up scapes. You harvest the soft neck garlic when about the lower third of these leaves turn brown and they die like this. So these aren't ready to harvest yet. No, I don't see any. But once like about to here, all these leaves turn brown and die, then I'll harvest all of the soft neck garlic. And I meant to tell you guys, this flower that I thought was a bachelor's button, I do not think is a bachelor's button. I'm not quite sure. It might be straw flower. I don't know what it is. I should just Google it. I have seeds for both straw flower and bachelor's button, and I'm not sure what these are. I could have sworn none of my straw flowers came up, but the bachelor's button variety that I have is blue, and that is not blue. And in about a month, it's gonna be time to harvest potatoes, which you can tell by their flowering. Potato flowers are so pretty. A lot of my potatoes are flowering. These two, this one over here. It's the purple one. So shortly after the potatoes bloom and then those flowers die, you have a couple weeks before it's time to harvest. You can start harvesting then, but really until the whole plant dies off, that's when the potatoes are going to be at their largest. If you harvest them once they're done flowering in their new stage, their little baby potatoes, they're called new potatoes, and they are delicious. They're soft and tender, and they just like burst with flavor in your mouth, but they aren't like the fullest size that you can get. So if you want the most bang for your buck, you want to wait until these potato plants completely die off, and that's when the tubers will be the largest. Not all of my potatoes are flowering. There's some that came up late that are gonna take a little bit longer, but for the most part, most of my potatoes are flowering. These. Those aren't over there. And as for my bolting onions, I've only had 2 more bolt since I did my last video when there were several. And what I did was just snap off the flowering bulb right here. It's not going to make the bulbs grow very much more, if at all. But I'm gonna leave these guys in here for a few more days, see if the bulb gets any bigger than that, and then take them out. But I'm glad that the other ones haven't gone to seed. That gives me hope that I might get some larger bulbs out of this. That would have stunk if all of them went. They still might. They may just be late. I don't know if all of them got stressed or only some of them got stressed. But from what I've seen on YouTube, a lot of people's onions are bolting early this year, and I'm not sure why. Interesting. I still haven't decided what's going to go in this bed yet, whether it's going to be beans or peppers. But unfortunately, I have not started any pepper seeds. Well, I started them, but they failed. I tried to start more of the varieties that I had trouble with this year, like Sugar Rush Peach and Habanada and the Reaper, and they didn't germinate very well. I don't know if it's me or the soil or the seeds themselves, but I just don't think I'm gonna get those peppers that I wanted this year. But I can absolutely put beans in that bed, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with that bed. I might do okra in the garlic bed, because that grows fairly quickly. It grows very well, and since this is on the west side of my garden, it's gonna receive the harshest afternoon light, and it's probably the plant that can take it the best. So I might do okra in that bed. I don't know yet. I don't know. But I'm gonna get to watering these bean seeds that I planted yesterday. With my luck, they won't germinate. Maybe I'll start on those tomato trellises today and I'll do a video on it. It won't be like an instructional because I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. But thank you all for joining me today, and I will catch you on the next one. Y'all, I googled it. The flower that I don't know what it is. It's safflower. These little flowers that I thought were bachelor's button are actually an herb called safflower. Ow, and they're pokey. Had to let you guys know that before I left. Goodbye.